since 1995, my first dog.
1995, jeez. I can't even do the math on that one.
Close to 20.
She has judged both judged and competed in agility for NADAC, the North American Dog Agility Council. And I had just a couple questions about NADAC. How many agility clubs are out there?
I have no idea. Tons. There's at least 22 trials a year in Montana alone that are NADAC. And that's probably, 6 clubs in Montana? About 6 of us in Montana alone.
So a lot of crazy people getting way into dogs and running them around obstacle courses. What's different about NADAC from other kinds of agility trials?
There's a little bit of difference as far as the equipment goes. I don't know if you guys can see the contact equipment like this and the A-frame, but they don't have any slats on them. It's probably the biggest difference between NADAC and the other venues that are out there. The hoops that you guys see us running through, that's also something that is just NADAC. And there is no teeter-totter in NADAC, no tire jump in NADAC, no collapsed tunnel in NADAC. So just a little bit of difference as far as the equipment goes. NADAC is pretty much based on speed, and can your dog listen to you and change course while running at top speed. Some of the other venues are a little bit more controlled and tight, but it's fun no matter which venue you're doing. It just depends on your dog and you and what you enjoy doing.
So, you're a trainer by trade. How do you train dogs to do this sort of stuff?
We train it all with positive reinforcement. Treats, toys, play, making the dogs think it's the most awesome thing in the world to hang out with us and do this fun equipment. Usually you would teach one piece of equipment at a time, and then just slowly start to piece it together, making courses and sequences out of it. But it's a lot of fun. Usually the tunnel is about the first thing anybody ever introduces to their dogs, because dogs like tunnels.
Okay, well thanks a lot, Sarah. I'm looking forward to your run again. I think we'll talk to... Are you going to go next?
Sure.
Okay. So just 1 second, we're going to switch out to Natasha. Okay, so now I'm here with Natasha Osborne, who's a dog trainer specializing in agility, and the owner and operator of Pathfinder Agility in Hamilton. You can check them out at pathfinderagility.com, and she's also a certified veterinary technician. So Natasha, how did you get into agility?
I started agility in 2000 with a dog that really needed some confidence building, and I thought this would be a good way to help me bond with her and also to help teach her some confidence, and then it just developed a life of its own.
So why do you specialize in training agility as opposed to just general obedience or other things like that?
Mostly because it's my passion. It's what I love the most. It's what I do the most, and it's what I know best. I think also that agility can have ramifications beyond just agility. It really builds your relationship with your dog. It builds a lifetime partnership, a lifetime of communication that I think really takes it beyond just having an average pet.
Awesome. That was going to be my next question. Sarah spoke just a minute about how people usually start on agility, but say somebody wants to get started with agility who's watching right now, what would you suggest they do first?
I would suggest at least having a foundation of obedience, because as you saw us running our dogs, we have them off leash, and so you need to at least have enough control that they're not just going to take off over the hill and be gone. And I think otherwise it's open to do what you wish with it. You can make it just something you play around in the backyard. You can start competing and running dogs like we all do. It's a really variable sport, and you can make what you want of it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Now you heard Craig narrating a little bit for us. That was great. Coonrad, that's how you pronounce your last name?
Yes, sir.
Craig is actually a NADAC judge, and he's been competing in NADAC for 6 years, including 2 championships. Well done.
Yeah, they'll let anybody in at times. So yeah, we had a good string for a couple of years, and got to go play with some people we met nationwide, which is awesome. What more could you ask for?
So That's a good question. It's a nice, sunny, bright day. Some people are out hiking. Some people are out gardening. Why is it agility for you on a day like this?
Agility, well, like my wife Natasha talked about, it's our passion in life. We kind of have a set rule. As long as it's warmer than 14 degrees outside, we'll actually go out and play down on our pasture. We have been known to run in the snow. It's a year-round deal. It's like our dogs are our kids, and this has turned into our passion in life. So really, there's not a time of the year where we're not doing something with them.
Sounds like you guys have a lot of fun doing it too, and that's what it was looking like today. How did you get to be a judge? How does that happen? And when you're judging NADAC, what are you looking for?
Great question. I was crazy enough to decide after a few years that was the natural progression. So the process to becoming a judge, first of all, involves like finding a couple other judges that would write recommendations, and then they solicit feedback nationwide if people know you. After that, you get to go to a judge's clinic. You have to submit courses, show that you have an understanding of how course is set down. You have to be able, the most critical thing is to be able to build courses in a safe manner so that the dogs can go full out without creating any safety issues. And then that process takes about 3 years. Once you get accepted, you're under supervision for a couple, 2 to 3 years, until you're fully cleared to go out and do it on your own. As far as what you look for, safety is paramount. There's performance criteria for each piece of equipment. For example, the contacts. The dog has to go down to the bottom of the contact, or else you're the one calling the faults. If they go off course, you're calling faults, and again, safety is paramount, so you're always looking for safe performance of all the obstacles. My big deal is I got to make sure everybody's having fun.
So if you were judging this last round, who won?
Me, of course.
Thanks a lot, Craig. We're with Stuart Hall. He's going to be our last interview. Stuart is crazy enough to be Sarah's husband, and we all respect him for that. He's won several championship titles in agility. He's also a psychology professor at the University of Montana, and is the president for Missoula's local agility club, ARTI, which he can tell you what ARTI stands for.
ARTI stands for a rover runs through it. After the book, A River Runs Through It, that was based in this area, which, so very clever name.
Okay, so Stuart, could you just tell us a little bit about, if anything in your background as a psychology professor, what you've learned through psychology has come into play in terms of dog training?
Well, I think the way that psychology translates into dog training, first of all, one branch of psychology is learning theory, which involves reinforcement and the things that we use to make sure that the dogs are having fun and wanting to learn the behaviors that we want them to. So when they get treats, we're doing the behavior that we want. There's a whole science around that called learning theory. It's actually quite complicated, but you learn that in training to be a psychologist. I think that probably the other way it translates is just sort of in your own interaction with your dog and others, knowing about the things that help you have fun and have an enriched life, and trying to bring that out to the course with your friends and with your dogs.
So why is it so important that agility be distinguished between dog walk and tunnel, dog point of view?
Does come into play for that. First of all, why do it if it's not fun? That's the overarching issue. But also, you see that our dogs are running really fast, and that's because they're having fun. Anytime you see a dog out loose in a field or something like that, and they put the pedal down, they're having a great time. And if you want a dog to run fast on a course, then you've got to make it fun for them. And so they want to be really energized and having fun. You can see some people who do agility that have dogs that are relatively shut down because they haven't made it that fun for them, and their dogs will go very slowly. So I think in addition to just training the behaviors we need them to do, the obstacles, it helps them be a lot faster.
So when you train a dog using positive reinforcement, you typically use treats. But I saw that most of the dogs running the obstacle courses today weren't getting treats after each jump or anything like that. How do you get a dog to run all these different things without giving them a treat every time when you started giving them a treat several times for it?
Well, that's sort of part of the learning process is shaping, where you reward approximations of what you want the dog to do, and then you begin to phase out treats, and you can use reinforcement or treats in a more sporadic way. And so you can give them a treat every 5 or 6 times they do what you want them to do, or every 10 times. And when these dogs have been trained as much as ours, they've gone to trials, and they know that once they run the course, they're going to come off and get a really tasty treat after the run. So there's that part of it, but something in learning theory called variable reinforcement tells you that some of the strongest behaviors can be maintained when the dog doesn't really know when the treat is coming. And so you might give them a treat right before they run. While we're practicing out here, we might give them a treat periodically, but in competition you can't do that, so they know they're going to get a treat after they finish the course.
How long does it take to train a dog up to a master agility level, typically?
There's no typical on that. Some dogs, this comes to you very naturally, and not only is it just getting the dog trained, but being able to perform under a trial circumstance, which is a very different, very energized environment. And so I would say probably on the short end it would take 2 to 3 years of trialing before you're really performing at the top levels. Some people can do it a little bit faster maybe. Other people it takes a long time. Every dog is individual, just like a person, and so you can think of trying to bring people up to top levels in any kind of sport. Some people have a natural inclination to do that. You can train them and get them a little bit better, and some are just naturals. And so anyway, it'd be something along those lines. But a lot of training to get a dog to do high-level agility.
So it better be fun.
Exactly.
Well, it's been really great watching you guys run. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys do a few more runs. Thanks a lot for coming out today, everybody. Thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate it. So these guys are going to be doing some more runs, and if you have any questions, be sure to sign into our chat about them, and we'll ask them some questions before they take off after this next round. All right, everybody wave.